What if I told you that ADHD doesn't just stay the same as kids grow up, but instead it transforms, bringing new challenges and new opportunities at every stage? If you're raising a child with ADHD, you've probably noticed this already. What used to be a struggle to sit still in kindergarten might become trouble staying organized in middle school or managing emotions in high school. And as they transition into adulthood, well, that's a whole new ball game. So how can you help your child not just, cope with ADHD, but thrive as they grow? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'm Dana Kay, a board certified health and nutrition practitioner specializing in ADHD, and I help families find natural ways to reduce ADHD symptoms in their children. If you haven't yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Now let's get started. Now let me introduce you to someone very special. This is my son, Oliver. At 5 years old, his ADHD looked like never sitting still for more than 30 seconds. He was constantly on the move, playing too rough with his little brother. He was having meltdowns and tantrums every single day, and he was full of boundless energy. Now by 9, things had shifted. He was still energetic, but his biggest struggles were staying focused in class and managing his impulses. Now, at 15 years old, he has changed so much. And if you're new here, I teach families the exact strategies I use to naturally reduce my son's ADHD symptoms. Today, he is absolutely thriving. He's completely medication free. But look, that's a story for another video. What we're here to talk about today is how ADHD naturally changes as kids grow. Whether or not specific strategies are in place, ADHD evolves over time. What was once constant movement in the younger years might shift into challenges with focus, with organization, or emotional regulation in those teen years. As kids grow, their ADHD doesn't sort of stay the same, it evolves. The hyperactive preschooler who couldn't sit still might become the middle schooler who struggles to stay focused, or the teenager who seems calmer on the outside might still deal with racing thoughts in his mind, difficulty handling emotions, or trouble managing his responsibilities. For example, a child who found it impossible to stay seated in elementary school might now be able to sit through the whole class, but organizing homework and juggling friendships with school stress is the new challenge. These shifts can sometimes be confusing for both the children and the parents as well, and that's why our approach to supporting them needs to grow. What works for a 7-year-old might not necessarily work for a teenager, and what helps a teen may not be enough for a young adult stepping into independence. So, how can we guide them through these transitions? Let's talk about the 5 key areas that can make the biggest difference for kids with ADHD as they grow up. And let's be honest, this one can be tough. It's so much easier just to do things for our kids rather than wait for them to figure it out. But if we don't let them practice independence now, they're going to struggle later. So where do we start? Let's just keep it simple. Let them take ownership of one small daily task. Maybe making their bed, or even packing their lunch, or sorting the laundry. And here's the hard part. Let go of the perfection. If they fold a shirt inside out, that's totally fine. If they don't stack the dishes perfectly, that's okay as well. I know that's really, really hard for me. It's not about getting everything right, it's about building confidence. Once they get the hang of those little things, we can slowly add in bigger responsibilities like making a whole meal or managing their own schedule. Think about your own child. What's one small responsibility you could hand over this week? Let me know in the comments. This is a big one because ADHD can make time feel totally unpredictable. You know what I mean? 5 minutes of homework somehow turns into an hour, or they sit down for what feels like 10 minutes, but really only 30 seconds have passed. That's called time blindness, and it's a huge challenge. One way that we can help is using a visual timer, like an hourglass countdown clock, something they can actually see. Another trick is setting up a reward system. So 20 minutes of homework, and then you give them a 5-minute movement break. Now, beyond time, self-management also means handling emotions. We've all been there, everything's fine. And then suddenly there's a meltdown over something so small. And that's why it's important to have tools ready before emotions take over. I worked with one mum whose son would throw ice cubes outside when he was angry. It gave him a way to release that frustration without hurting anyone. I thought that was so brilliant. Now, every kid is different, so really experiment. Deep breathing, stress balls, punching a pillow, or a cool down space in your house. The goal is to find what works for your child. Now, raise your hand if your ADHD child's backpack looks like a disaster zone. It's just part of how their brain works, but that doesn't mean they can't learn systems to help. Executive function is what helps us plan. It helps stay organized and think ahead. For kids with ADHD, this can be one of the toughest areas to master, especially as they get older and school demands increase. One way you can help is break tasks into smaller steps. So instead of saying, clean your room, try first, put your clothes in the hamper, then you can pick up your toys. Using checklists or visual reminders can also make a massive difference. Label color-coded folders or sticky notes. And to make it fun, you can turn it into a challenge. Say something like, let's see if we can clean this desk in 5 minutes. It's not just about having a tidy space, it's about building habits they can use in life. ADHD doesn't just make school hard, it can also take a toll on self-esteem and mental health. Many kids with ADHD struggle with feeling different or like they're always being corrected. By age 12, listen to this, research suggests they've heard 20,000 more negative comments than their neurotypical peers. That's a lot of discouragement. And this can lead to anxiety, it can lead to frustration or feeling like they just don't measure up. And when kids feel like they're constantly getting things wrong, they may stop trying altogether. So how do we support their emotional well-being? First, we need to help them recognize their strengths. Kids with ADHD often have amazing creativity, amazing resilience, and a really unique way of looking at the world. So instead of just pointing out their challenges, we need to highlight what they're great at. Second, you want to encourage positive self-talk. ADHD can really make you internalize those negative messages, so we really have to counteract that by reminding them of their wins, no matter how small they are. If they remember to turn in their homework today, celebrate that. If they showed kindness to a friend or a family member, point that out. Positive reinforcement builds confidence. Third, we have to teach social skills. ADHD can make friendships tough. Kids might interrupt without realizing it. They could struggle to pick up on social skills or feel left out because they miss those subtle signs from friends. So to help, we can role play social situations at home, like how to join a group or to ask a friend to hang out or handle a disagreement. We can find structured social settings as well, like the theatre, martial arts, or ADHD-friendly groups where they can interact in a more guided way. And we can celebrate small social wins. So if they remember to ask a friend about their day, let them know that's a big deal. Finally, we need to create a safe space for them to express their emotions. When they're upset about something, instead of saying calm down, which I'm guilty of, try to say, I can see you're frustrated. Do you want to talk about it? Giving them tools like deep breathing, journaling, or even something physical like throwing that ice cube outside can really help them work through emotions in a healthy way. When kids with ADHD feel supported emotionally, they don't just survive social situations, they thrive. High school flies by, and before we know it, our kids are stepping into adulthood. But are they ready? One way to help is by teaching real-world skills early, before they're thrown into the deep end. This doesn't mean overwhelming them with everything at once, but rather gradually introducing skills that will help them feel more capable and in control. So here are a few ways to get started. First, let's teach them budgeting basics. Give them an allowance and show them how to plan versus spending versus saving. If they want something, help them work towards it rather than buying it for them immediately. Just as we were talking about organizational skills previously, it's important to teach them time and task management. We want to encourage them to use a planner, use a visual schedule, or reminder apps to help them keep track of those deadlines, those activities, and the responsibilities. Now, I don't know about you, but any help in household chores makes Mama here a very happy lady. So let's start teaching them household responsibility. You can involve them in meal planning, grocery shopping, or cooking so they can really practice following steps and making decisions. Then there is those problem-solving skills. So instead of solving issues for them, guide them through it. If they forget an assignment, instead of rushing to fix it, ask, what do you think we can do about this? And here's something really, really important to remember. Not every child will take the same path. Some kids may thrive in college, while others may choose a different route like trade school or entrepreneurship or hands-on careers that fit their strengths. The goal isn't to push them into a traditional model of success. It's to help them develop the skills they need to thrive in whatever way works best for them. Ultimately, preparing for the future isn't just about academics. It's about teaching responsibility, problem solving, and confidence building so they can feel capable of handling what comes next, whatever that may be. So let's do a quick recap. The 5 biggest skills we can focus on to help our kids with ADHD grow into successful adults are independence, self-management, organization, emotional well-being, and preparing for the future. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this is that ADHD isn't a roadblock. It's just a different path. And as parents, we have the power to guide our kids in a way that helps them build confidence, build independence, and skills they need to thrive. The challenges may shift as they grow, but with the right support, they can step into each new stage feeling capable and empowered. Think about your child right now. What's one small step you can take this week to support their growth, whether it's fostering independence, helping them manage emotions, or build their confidence? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear. And if this video was helpful, don't forget to share it with another parent who needs this message. You're not alone on this journey, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way.